Hello. Oh, good. It was a good light. I was like, the light here is terrible. Oh my gosh. I started sitting here. All of a sudden, my nose started running. Great. I love it. Hold on. Let me move the light real quick. Hold up. Let me put it how I had it last time. All right. Hello. Hello. Okay. I'm on time this week. Saturday. I'm on time. Um, this was the best I could do. I do apologize, but I kind of don't. I've had a very long day. Excuse me, and I'm so tired. But I have things to do in here. Oh my god, I just ate. Now I'm just making all kinds of mucus. Great, wonderful. How's everybody's day? Hope it's great. If you saw my thumbnail, if you're wondering what in God's name is that on your face, that is a mask I had bought. I did a little bit of frivolous spending at the height of COVID in the summer of lockdown. And this kind of goes with what I want to talk about today. So I did do some frivolous spending back then. I bought that silicone mask, which is supposed to cover like a regular mask, but it's one of those face huggers from the movie Alien, which I love that movie Alien. I named one of my cats after my most favorite character. And I think I've said this before in other lives, Jeanette Goldstein, she's just like one of the best female character actors. I mean, like one of the best. If you don't know who Jeanette Goldstein is, please look up all her movies. Some of her roles are very small. You might miss her, but she does an excellent job. I'm in here.
Do you come with me to the restroom?
Oh, man. All right. Hold on. Kid needs me to follow him to the restroom. Here, just hang out here for a second. Welcome to my house, everybody.
Duolingo is the #1 language learning app in the world. There are more people learning languages on Duolingo than in the entire US school system. In fact, there are more people learning languages on Duolingo than the next top 5 language apps combined. Why? Because Duolingo is free, fun, and effective, with lessons designed to keep you motivated. Start learning Spanish, French, or any of the other 30 languages with the world's #1 language learning app. Download the free Duolingo app now.
I ask for peace. They gotta come bug me. Train of thought. Where was I? Well, frivolous spending. That was Jeanette Goldstein. Blah blah blah. Fast forward. Bathroom. Come back. Okay. So yeah. So I bought that mask from. I follow Tom Savini on Instagram. If you don't know who Tom Savini is, he's an actor. He's also a really great special effects makeup artist, sculptor, all of the above person. In fact, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? He posted that he was hit by a car on his Instagram, and he's gonna have to cancel some dates. And then today he was posting pictures of his injuries, and I was like, oh my god, Tom Savini, you're like 70 years old and someone hit you with a car. Oh my god, like I hope he gets better for reals. Um, so yeah, so I had bought that mask, and then also, um, I just feel like I'm mentally regressing. I'm not sure. Maybe a psychologist could tell me what this means, but I feel like I'm kind of like regressing um, as a child. So I also now all the time. It's not just at the height of pandemic. Like all the time, I'm watching old movies and shows and things when I was like a kid. And one of my favorite movies, like I remember from being a kid, was The Mighty Ducks. So, in addition to that mask that I bought at the height of the pandemic, I also ordered a Mighty Ducks jersey. Um, so I have that. It's on my Instagram. I bought it like last year, so you'll have to like do a lot of scrolling to catch up um, with that post to get to get there. But excuse me, I can't even speak. So another thing, another thing that I was saying, like involving that frivolous wedding, was that Mighty Ducks jersey, because it wasn't cheap, but also with the Mighty Ducks, I watched last night. They just released it on Disney Plus, the new Mighty Ducks show, which I was super excited to see it. Um, the trailer was quite funny though, because I noticed Emilio Estevez has trouble moving really any muscles on his face. Gotta love him. Gotta love those Estevez boys, but that's a little bit too much Botox there, Emilio. But that's okay. Anyways, um, my husband kept telling me this while I was watching it, because I really feel a lot of the dialogue, especially from the mother in the show, is just super cringe. And he's like, Sarah, this is not made for you. This is made for children. And I was like, are you sure? Because they brought back this show to get the new generation of Mighty Ducks, but also the parents of this new generation, which is like people like me in our 30s, you know, to get us interested into watching it. So I watched it. Unfortunately, I couldn't binge on it because Disney Plus is doing that thing where they only release like one episode a week or something like that. It's bullshit. They should have just left the whole thing. But I'm excited to see where it goes. That also left me with another question. It's like, my God, I bought an original Mighty Ducks jersey last year. Does this mean I have to buy another jersey? Just like with Cobra Kai, like they're gonna combine Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai, Daniel and Johnny are gonna join forces. It's like I haven't even bought an Eagle Fang shirt yet. They're gonna combine houses, then I'm gonna have to buy another shirt after that. So I'm gonna have to buy another jersey once they figure out what their name, like the real name is gonna, because they said a name, but I don't think it's gonna be the real name. I could be wrong, but once they say their actual name and then come up with like a jersey logo and all that stuff. So I'm gonna have to do some more frivolous spending in the near future with that. I wrote down all my ideas today because I was just like, I'm so tired. I'm just gonna be staring at the screen, not being able to have words come out of my mouth. Also, I just uploaded it yesterday, but I have 2 new tutorials this week. Last video just came out on the peacock dress, and then the second part of the Resident Evil giant villain dress also I just released yesterday. I'm trying to pace myself with these last two. What is this hair? With these last 2 tutorials, just because it's a lot of work, and I really try not to. Although sometimes I do end up getting like almost an hour long video, but I don't really like super long tutorials, and I'm really trying to stay away from that. So I'm really trying to make these in like 20 to half hour increments, which I think I'm just gonna try and steer away from altogether. But those 2 videos are coming out. I'm hoping after this, because I'm gonna be working on some stuff, I'm hoping to put my what I eat in a day keto. Yeah. what I eat a day, keto. Hopefully that I can put that next week because I've just been saving little videos and little things here and there as I eat throughout the day, like within the past 2 weeks. Not that I have that much content because a lot of the times I eat practically the same exact thing like every single day. So I really had to like stretch this out within like 2 weeks just so you can get some kind of variety in my diet. Um, so that's gonna come up. And what did I do today? Which is why I'm saying like I feel so exhausted. So like if you follow what I say on my lives, every weekend I do work. Like I have like a legitimate. I don't know why I did that. I have a legitimate job taking care of my grandmother. I get paid for it through like a home health agency. So I go every Saturday and Sunday to go take care of her. And today, usually at the end of my shift, like I still stay like afterwards. Like it's my grandmother, I don't care. Um, so I was looking through all her stuff and I was like, what do I need to replenish your stock with? Because I feel like my grandma I'm very extra in how I take care of my grandmother because she can't do a lot of things for herself. So I I looked through her stuff and I was like, okay, because I buy her a Vino face cleansing pad, so that way if I wash her face, I can just wash it in the bedroom and I don't have to go like get a bucket of water and soap and scrub and do all that stuff. Like everything's already wet on the pad. So she was running out of that. I needed to get her some more creams like for skin problems and stuff like that and some snacks. She likes her little candy, so I was like, well, I'll go get you like some sugar free chocolates, but I'll get like the good stuff from like Sprouts, which Sprouts is just like a health food store. They have like a lot of really good sugar free candies from the Lily's brand. So I was like, I'll go get you the stuff there. I'll go to Walgreens. I'll try and get you some more compression socks and see if I can find anything else. Like, so when I bathe you, like I bathe you well, you know what I mean? Like exfoliate your skin and all that stuff. So like I wrote down my list and I went to go shopping for her. I went to Walgreens. I ran a quick errand with my husband, went to Walgreens, and then all the stuff that I need to go get at Sprouts. I went to Sprouts and I bought the stuff there. But like all this went over a span of like, well, actually, some extra stuff. I picked up my kids from their grandparents. All so like I was out like a span of 3-4 hours today past my shift, just like driving across town, dropping people off, buying things, doing stuff. So like I came back home to where I live and we just picked up food and I'm just like, I'm exhausted. Like I don't want to do anything. I mean, I'll sew, but that's because just I can sit here and do work, but I'm just like, I'm so exhausted. Which I don't know. Sometimes I really overanalyze like, how do we get exhausted just driving? Like we're not even moving, the car's moving, but whatever. Also, the AC does not work in my car anymore. It's another expense. Thank you so much. I got to get my AC serviced in my car because it's just spitting out hot air at this point. Also, another thing that I tripped out on today. I tripped. I follow a bunch of like 80 like retro 80s Instagram pages, and a bunch of them started saying like rip Beverly Clearly, and I was like, she was still alive. She was 104 up until her death the other day, and I was like, oh my god. Like when I was little, our schools had a program called AR, which is accelerated reading program, and you would check out books, and each book would have, depending on the difficulty and level of the reading, it would have like points. Like if I read a book that was like 3 points, they would scan it, or I don't even remember how they did it, or I think I had to log it. Yeah, I had to log it. Excuse me, I had to log it. So I would accumulate points, and then like at the end of the school year, however many points you had, you could redeem it at the school for like actually really good prizes. So I was like super into AR at that time. A lot of the books that I would pick up, I do remember reading a lot of Beverly Clearly in my younger years, and then after that, like I also read like a lot of Judy Blume. Like I know Judy Blume is not with us anymore, but I was just really surprised that Beverly Clearly was still living. I would have never thought. So that tripped me out. I do remember the Ramona books from Beverly Clearly. I think those were the ones that I read the most because I think I was transitioning out of like child to like those tween years. So like I do remember reading Beverly Clearly, but like Judy Blume was my go-to. Just like when you started reading Goosebumps, you would read all the Goosebumps, and then when you started transitioning to being like a tween or a young teen, then you started reading Fear Street from R.L. Stine. Does anybody remember that? Like those were the I used to read those for AR too. Oh man, I would drink. I would drink. I'm not. I'm sober. I would read like a Fear Street book an evening. Like I mean, I would read a Fear Street book like almost every day because I thought they were so good back then. I thought they were so good, and they would have romance and all the. I don't. You know, I wish I could go. I'd go get a book and just like look through it. Like, how old were these characters in these books? And they're talking about like passion and romance and horror and murder and drama and thriller. This is for high school kids, but like middle schoolers read it. It was super bizarre. But anyways, that was very surprising. And another thing, talking about I guess pop culture books or reading whatever. My husband has been he just switched because right now they're watching Batman versus Superman, which is why I decided to start my live. I was like, I'm not into this stuff. But just the last 2 weeks, he has been just going through the whole catalog of the Lord of the Rings series, like The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, all of that. I swear he watched all the Lord of the Ring movies. It felt like he was watching the same movie for like 2 weeks straight. I mean, we know how much film there is of that story, right? Like that realm of J.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. The best scene, and because I don't know which one he was watching. I can't even tell you what part it was, but I think the best scene in the Lord of the Rings is when that one, I think she's like a princess or something. Her dad, her uncle gets knocked down by the black witch or something, or the death witch. I don't know what it is. It's a death witch. And he's like, "Oh, no man can kill me." And she's like, "Bam, I am no man." And she like stabs him in the face. That's like such a powerful scene. Every time I see that, I think, God, this woman, whoever this woman is, she is such a good actress because in that scene, she makes you feel what she's feeling. Like she's scared and she's so frightened, but she's willing to put her life down to protect her uncle. Like it's just so powerful. Like you get scared for her. She's such a good actress, You see just her trembling. She's so afraid of this witch, but she holds it down and she kills him. But I always thought that was like the best scene. Sorry, it's like random thought. It's like the best scene I think from any of the Lord of the Rings is just like talking about that part. It's just like, I am no man. What else? Yeah. I'm trying to think. Could be another short live today. And if it is, that's okay. I don't mind. Too bad my one buddy that always comes in the chat's not here today because we're always talking about YouTube internet drama, which I was trying to catch up on today. I don't think I'm all the way caught up, but so I think for the rest of my days I'll work on some stuff, finish some work up, sit here, watch a movie. I don't know. I had a salad from Wendy's right now coming home from being out since the early morning. I don't know if I'm going to eat anymore. Because I actually got full. I bought a full salad and then a bowl of chili. Oh. Also, now I don't know. I'm a little excited, but I won't let the cat out of the bag too much. But I don't know if I'm going to do it within the next 4 months or at the end of the year. But I was given the okay by my husband. You know how I have like a video? You all are going to think I'm an addict or something. A video on my septorhinoplasty. Because if you're watching, you didn't know, this is not my original nose. I had a bigger nose, which I became fine with in my 30s. But then like something started to happen with it and started to twist and deform. And I had a deviated septum. So if you're curious about that, you can watch my video on my journey with my septorhinoplasty. So something similar was given to go by my husband, and I'm super excited when he told me. When he told me, I literally started crying, sobbing with happiness, like true happiness. So I might, within the next 3 months or so, um, see how we're gonna finance it or how much it's gonna be. But I might have another cosmetic procedure. Kind of excited. I'm very excited. But that doesn't mean like, oh, I'm just gonna get this done and then like the heck with the diet. I'm not gonna work out it. Like, no, I'm not one of those ladies. In fact, he told me this, and he was like, but before you get it done, you really should lose more weight. And I was like, what? Why would I not continue trying to lose weight? So this just makes me want to work harder on my diet. Like, I'm just so excited. I don't want to say what it is though until maybe I've actually scheduled the consultation and then we figure out if it's going to be a for sure thing or not. But just the fact that he's just like, yeah, let's see what happens. Let's schedule consultation and see what happens. It doesn't have to do with my boobs because I think my boobs are fine. Those old girls, they're just fine to me. I'm not too worried about them. But yeah, which would be interesting to document my journey on that. Maybe that won't happen for another year or so, but get the foot in the door, you get that consultation and you find out what they want to do or what they can do for you. So I'm actually very excited. So I just wanted to say that as well. Yes. So yeah, just like I predicted the last week, which last week's live, I believe we were just getting off of the spring break. I have no concept of time anymore. I don't even know what month it is anymore, but we're just coming off of spring break. So I was eating like crap, I had said, and I was like up 4 pounds, but this week I've been dieting again. So like I'm almost down again 4 pounds. I'm like down 3, which like I said, I figured a lot of it was just water weight, but like maybe like 1 or 2 pounds is actual like pounds that I gained back. But I'm just going to continue dieting, get back down to 168 and then go forward from there in terms of what I'm going to do with my diet. Like I said, I do want to try and I was just talking about you. Acrophobe. I was just talking about you. I was like, well, I was going to end my live already because my YouTube drama friend is in here. We usually talk about that, but there you are. Oh, girl. Okay, what you just came in? What was I just finishing saying? Because I was saying something like I might get a cosmetic procedure done, but I have to schedule that's what I was just leaving off of. So I was getting really excited because like I don't know if you've gone down the rabbit hole of my YouTube channel, and if you haven't, that's okay. I have a video where I talk about, because it was cosmetic, but actual medical. I had my nose done. So like this isn't like my actual God-given nose. Although it looks like my grandmother's nose or my mom's nose now that they fixed it. But anyways, so I have that on my, I know, right? So I have that done. And then my husband was telling me yesterday, he was like, okay, we'll get this one thing that you've been wanting for a really long time. He's like, so you should try and schedule a consultation with the plastic surgeon. And I was like, and I was telling the live, I was like, when he told me that, I said, are you joking? He's like, I was like, are you joking? And he's like, no, I'm serious. Call and schedule a consultation. I started crying, dude. I started sobbing. My children came in the bedroom and they're like, Mom, what's wrong? Did you hurt yourself? And I'm just like, I'm so happy. Like, I was just crying, dude. Which I was saying, I don't want to disclose what it is yet until I've had the consultation. We know how much it's going to cost, and then see if we can finance it. And then, maybe schedule out the procedure if all goes well with that consultation, like in the future, just so we could get our monies in order. But I know, so I got really emotional. Just like another time I had like this really, I feel in my opinion, like a really awesome job position, and I started crying then, and I had to sign like an NDA, like what I was doing. But like that level of happiness is how I felt. So that would be cool if that even happens, if I can document that, because like I'm all about sharing. Sharing is caring. I watched a bunch of videos like when people got not before I had my nose done. Like I watched a bunch of videos on people's journeys and how that I am. Oh, I'm an ugly crier. I am the ugliest crier. And then when I cry too, like I hyperventilate. So like I don't understand. Like with some adults, they start crying and they're able to like control themselves so they could actually talk and communicate. Like I lose all function of like motor skills. I can't talk or make sounds or breathe right. It's terrible. Oh God. So how's your day going? I'm super tired, dude. I'm exhausted. What did you do today? Or if you didn't do anything, that's cool too. It's Saturday. It's what's expected, right? Hold on, I'm gonna ask you a few questions here. Hold on. Maybe I'm not as caught up. Okay, I guess I am kind of caught up. Actually, there's something else I wanted to discuss. Lazy Saturday. I love lazy Saturdays. Oh, that's cool. I don't think I've seen the whole thing of The Godfather. I think I've seen like parts of the first section of the movie, and then I stopped. Mm. Have you gotten your COVID vaccination yet? I haven't. I have to schedule it. I haven't done it yet. Oh, 1 and 2 are masterpieces, but even Coppola admits part 3 was a cash grab and a train wreck. There's always one of them. Yeah. I was listening to just snippets because I don't have Spotify, which is another problem, which you've seen in my lives. Like my phone has limited storage. So I can't really be being frivolous with my storage and just downloading all kinds of random ass apps. So I really can't get Spotify, but like I was listening to some of the clips on the Joe Rogan with Jim Brewer the other day, and they were talking about COVID and all this stuff. And then I was looking in the comments, like how some people, when even now, like when their relatives go in sick for something else, like how the medical people are choosing who lives, who dies. Like it was a lot. Which brings it to like my question. I'm talking, baby.
Huh?
I'm talking, baby. We're bringing to my question, like my there's been a lot of people like on my Facebook feed who, yeah, they're overweight. I guess they would be considered high risk. Where they already got their COVID vaccinations. They got them like in January and February. And my grandmother, she's about to be 94 this coming summer. She just got her first vaccine about 2 weeks ago, but she had been on the waiting list for 2 months. I want to say 2 months at the very least, but to me it really feels longer than that, which doesn't make sense to me because she's elderly, extremely high risk. She has all these health problems, and some of these people are just like overweight, or maybe they have diabetes, but I just don't see in the waiting line of people. I understand medical professionals and some jobs are like at the higher tier, but then like when you come down to civilians, like wouldn't elderly people who are at high risk, shouldn't they get priority than some of the younger people? I don't know. See, this is where I'm kind of like biased on that. Like, why are elderly grandparents, I mean, I don't know how long your grandmother was on the waiting list, but I feel like mine was on way too long, and she has to wait for her second dose. And I know people in their 50s who don't work, who aren't teachers, who don't work in a medical profession, who don't, you know what I mean? They're already fully vaccinated. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And my grandmother, like, luckily, it's so strange, but I'm very thankful. Nobody in my immediate family has gotten COVID. My husband's parents did not get COVID. My brother and his family hasn't gotten COVID. We haven't gotten COVID. My mother and my stepfather haven't gotten COVID. Even my grandmother. At the beginning of the pandemic, I had released a video on my YouTube called "Toilet Paper is Not going to Save You" or something, and I filmed that video because I had such a strong opinion about how when the stores were running low on toilet paper, or they were just like out, and people in the Costco's were like pushing people over like it's Black Friday for toilet paper. I had a very strong opinion about that. So I made a video, and I made it right. If you look in the background of that video, I'm in the parking lot of the nursing home my grandma was at. And I was just giving my opinion, not thinking that would be the last time I saw her in person for like almost 8 months. It does. Whatever. I want to get one of those toilets. Fuck toilet paper. I want those toilets or those washlets that like rinse your bum. I want one of those. But that was like the last time I had seen her, because the next day they shut down all the nursing homes. So like I didn't see her from like March the 13th, like actually see her in person where I could hold her and stuff, to when my mom finally was able to pull her out of the nursing home, which was at some point in August. So, you go from March to August, you don't know if the people who are working in there, how they are staying safe, because it's expected. I got a bidet bottle at the start. I had no idea about bidet bottles. God, let me write this down. Hold on. Bidet bottle. It's not a douchebag. It's a bidet bottle. Okay. Duly noted. So, you worry about like your grandparents, because I don't know where your grandma lives. She lives with you or your mom, or if she's in a nursing home as well. But you worry about bidet bottles are the best. You worry about who's caring for your grandparents, because they, during lockdown, they won't let anybody in the nursing home except for the workers. Sometimes the workers themselves end up with COVID, and then they expose the patients, like the residents. So it's so weird. I don't know. My family, we just don't die, dude. And I'll get into that right now, why we don't die. Oh, okay, that's cool. She lives with your mom. Awesome. So my family, we're eternal. We're immortal. We don't die. I'm just joking. We do die. But so crazy story, and I wanted to share this with you because this Joe Rogan, this whole conversation and then the comments under it just reminded me of everything I went through with my grandmother and the COVID and the nursing home. She physically hasn't left the house since January except for 2 doctor's appointments. Yeah, that's kind of like my grandmother too. We've sold. I think she's gone out once not counting doctor's appointments, but like as actual, like, let's just get out. And I took her out to eat one time at a grocery store because they have a cafeteria just for her mental health. Because I feel at this point, like our elderly relatives, like they just maybe need to go to a park or step out. Like it's also not good for their mental health at this point. Now that we know what we know about COVID and there's vaccinations, but I remember, oh my God, it was the worst day. I might start crying in this live. I'm sorry. I get emotional. But I remember my grandmother had a roommate and they called my mother and they said the roommate tested positive for COVID. You know, and they're in the same room. They're not far from each other. You know how these rooms are just partitioned by a curtain basically. So they tested my grandmother and she was negative. So I think what it was, if your roommate tested positive, they would check you every day, like for 2 weeks or something, until you were, you know, out of the clear, you were into the clear or whatever. I tried to make my grandma get in the car so I could drive around town, but she refused. She just thinks outside she's going to catch it. Oh, that's awful. Yeah, see, it just, their mental health, dude. And so she had, I think we found out on a Wednesday. She was tested on a Thursday negative. She tested on a Friday. Then that test came back positive. And I remember my mom told me that, and I lost it, dude, because this was it May or June that this happened, and I lost it. I lost like all my cool, and then so what they do here, I don't know how it is where you live, but in town they have one nursing home where they send all positive like nursing home residents. It's like the house, the halfway house. You're going halfway to death, you're halfway to living. Like it's one of those. So they had this one nursing home where they sent all the COVID positive patients to either die or recover. So they sent my grandmother to this, and I was like, my grandmother's gonna die. She had already almost died back in January. She had some other problem that happened, and my mother was consulting me, literally telling me we're gonna sign her DNR. So just having her live through that and survive, and then having the COVID lockdown, like I just lost it. Like all my cool was done. So they sent her there for 2 weeks, and I was just like praying and hoping like she never caught it. So, and of course, again, when they're in this COVID nursing home, of course they're checking everybody consecutively every day. Um, Saturday they test, or Sunday the test comes back negative, dude. They test her again, the test come back negative. The first positive, check this out, was a false positive. My grandmother never had COVID, and they have her in this COVID unit nursing home, right? Where everybody has COVID. So when I find that out, you can't imagine. I like, dude, yes, I broke down again because not only was it a false positive, now she's in the belly of the beast, right? Surrounded by all these people with COVID, dude. So I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't I So 2 weeks went by. She never tested positive again. She never caught COVID. So they were able to send her back to her original nursing home where she was living. I can't, I don't know. The way I deal with trauma, dude, I, I was I'll get to that right now, but yeah. Yeah. Is it 4 a.m.? Yeah, it's 6 o'clock. Time for a breakdown. So she was able to go back to her nursing home, and then everything was whatever, fine. But at least she was negative. She never caught it. So when she came home in August, I was so relieved, and it was so strange. Like my mother called and she's like, "Hey, the bus, the transit thing that moves the patients from the nursing home, they just dropped off grandma, and she's here at the house. You want to come by?" And I remember, and it's so funny when you think you're fine and you're stressed, or maybe this is your brain trying to cope and set in denial to help you cope with all the stress. But I literally like when my mom told me that, I felt like a weight lifted off my chest, and I was like, what was that? Like something just left me, like just a pile of bricks, and all of a sudden, like I felt lighter in my chest, and I just felt so much at ease, even though I thought I felt like I was at ease before. And I remember I went to go see my grandma at my mom's house, and it was just like she had never left, and she's like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "I haven't seen you in like 8 months, grandmother." And then eventually I became about 2 months ago I became like an aide for that home health agency. So now I get paid and I watch her on the weekends. Yes. My grandmother is such a tough old bitch. I swear to God. Because when she almost died back in January, she went from being in some kind of coma and not being able to walk or speak or chew to now being like, Sarah, this movie's fucking dumb. Turn this off. You know what I mean? Just, it's so amazing how even however old you get, your body just wants to heal. It wants to get back to this state of, what is it? The homeostasis. You know what I mean? And I take care of her, and I I bathe her, and I make her breakfast and her lunch and all this stuff. And she always wants to watch John Wayne movies. Like she loves John Wayne movies. And she likes Paul Newman too. She's like, Paul Newman's pretty hot. And I was like, okay. I'm more of a Leslie Nielsen type of lady, but that's okay. She has her preferences. I have mine. She does. One one time we were watching, I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. It's called Crank with Jason Statham, where he has some kind of like issue with his heart, so he has to get electrocuted to keep his pacemaker, his heart keep going. And there was a part in the movie where they're on a racetrack and his electricity's running low or something, or his heartbeat's running low. So the girl that he's with, they decide to like dry hump each other to make static. It's so stupid, to make static electricity. And my grandmother was so disgusted by this scene. She like yelled at the TV. She's like, "Fuck you!" She was so disgusted by this dry humping on the racetrack. And my family turned to her like, what the fuck? She told Jason Statham, fuck you. But his character, you know what I mean? Dude, Leslie, you know who else? I mean, Leslie Nielsen was just a fox from a young a young man to when he died. I don't know how do you cope with being that hot? Like how do you manage being, I know how to manage being like ugly. That's easy, but how do you do it being so gorgeous like all the time? But another one that's really good looking that I had no idea until I saw one of his movies by accident with my grandma, because my grandmother loves westerns, was Ronald Reagan. When Ronald Reagan was young, I was like, ooh, Ronald, you might beat out Leslie in my top hotties. True, true. If you don't believe me, go find a Ronald Reagan under 40. Let me know. Come back and tell me. Let me know. Yes. Thank you. He wasn't he? Yeah, and he always had white. Leslie Nielsen always had white hair. It's like, who is it? Okay. Like Steve Martin. When did Steve Martin ever have brown hair? I also feel like Steve Martin was born with white hair. Bless him. Who else looked also old his whole life? Willem Dafoe. When did Willem Dafoe ever look young? He looked 50 when he was like 25. Can someone show me the proof when Willem Dafoe looked like a young man? Like he just looks old. I don't know. Who messaged me? Oh. Oh, my brother's watching this live. Okay, wait. Let me look how he looked in Forbidden Planet. Let me know. Find out what's Forbidden Planet. And there's another actor too, where I always think, when when have you been young? And it's always Willem Dafoe, and there's somebody else too. God, I hope I can remember it during this live. I don't know. Hold on. My brother said, I remember when we saw Crank. Oh yeah, our aunt was there, and then she witnessed the mouth that is potiful of my grandmother. She, in her old age, dude, she said some weird stuff to me now. I remember one time when she was still able to walk, we went to a Victoria's Secret one year for Christmas, because usually our thing was I would take her to go Christmas shopping for the family, and she was just, I'm at the age where she's just like, just pick your Christmas present. So my husband was with me, and she's like, Andrew, how about I buy her some nice underwear and bra set for you for Christmas? My grandmother bought me naughty underwear for my husband for Christmas, while my husband was there, with my grandmother buying it for me. I'm just like, I don't know. Do you want to buy this or this or this? My husband's like, thank you, Grandma. Appreciate it. My grandmother's very progressive, I will say. She's a very progressive grandmother. What else? Oh my God, that's right. My brother just said, he said, this we're just exposing how naughty my grandmother is. He says there was there was another time when we saw American Horror Story. I wasn't there, but my brother did tell me, and I think it was a sex scene between two men or something. And she's like, what did she say? He's like, she saw them screwing or something, and she's like, are they fucking in the ass? If I was monetized, YouTube would be like demonetized. We cannot talk about old ladies talking about butt sex, you know? Yeah. I think my grandmother and I are cut from the same cloth. We really are. And as they get older, just the filter becomes thinner and thinner before, and then it just doesn't exist. Going back to how my family doesn't die, I have an aunt, which she's not like really my aunt. She's actually a second cousin, twice removed. But when they're about 80 years older than you, just call them aunt. Just call them uncle. It's not like you could say, hey, cuz, you want to go get some drinks, cuz? They're like 80 years older than you. Oh, it may have been died though. I'll have to look that up. We'll find the truth. We'll find out. She is naughty, Robert. What was I gonna say? Oh no, I forgot. I forgot. I lost my train of thought. Well, that's it for the live. I lost my train of thought. I don't know where I'm going with this. I forgot. I had such something cool to add to our conversation. It's gone. Say something, and then maybe in the next 30 seconds it'll come back to me. Let's see. This is what I have to do when I lose my train of thought. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. The ADD brain, baby. Useless. So my aunt, who is actually my cousin, because we can't like chill as in regular cousins, she's about to be 104 next month. And you would think she's 85. Nothing is slowing this woman down. She's in her house, she gardens, she takes care of her animals, she watches TV. And I actually have, and this is why COVID also puts a damper on it. Because I've been contemplating for like about 2 years and I don't know how to ask her. Like, I would love to interview her and just have, again, contributing to society. I would love just to have her knowledge on the internet and just ask her, what life advice would you give as someone who is what do they call them? Sanitarian, a centaur, a sanitarian. Um, just advice you would give, being that you've lived so long. I would love to interview her, but I'm a little timid and embarrassed how to ask her son who watches her, like my cousin. How could I explain that I have like a TV show on the internet and I would like to talk to your mother about stuff? Sanitarians, thank you. It's not a centaur. Those are half horse, half humans. Yes. So I would love to do that, and I always worry if I wait too long one day I'm just gonna get the call. And look, I can joke about it because she jokes about it. She she lived so long, she outlived her parrot. She had a parrot and his name was Whitaker. And that, I'll tell you that I remember that bird when I was like 5 years old. That bird lived to be like 200 years old and she outlived this parrot that she had. And I remember this bird, man. They turned into centaurs on their 100th birthday. Yes, that's how they transcend to the next life, to the Elysian fields. That's how they transition to the Elysian fields. They turn into centaurs. I know. And again with COVID, I don't know if my cousin would even let me in her house. So I really have been thinking about this a lot because I really enjoyed making the video that I did on this one amusement park we used to have in El Paso. It's called Magic Landing. I thoroughly enjoyed making that, I guess, documentary or my research or whatever. It actually went kind of like popular where I live, the local radio station. They wrote about it in an article one time, which I had no idea because no one ever contacts me for credit or asks me my permission or nothing. They just post my stuff and somehow I find out about it, which was like, going to that, I'll go off topic for a second. If I leave off track, I have people here to set me back. But there was a picture I just posted the other day on a throwback Thursday where I used to model when I was like younger and skinnier. And I remember that I was told by the photographer, hey, they printed your picture in the El Paso Times, this picture. And I was thinking, oh, how cool. I will sign your cat. Yes. Let me see it. Let me see the boozy. I'm just kidding. Don't kill me. Holds up Wendell. Oh, Wendell is your cat. Because yeah, Wendell the uncanny. That's Wendell. I never put it together. I'm so slow. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm actually Wendell's biggest fan. Let Wendell know that. So he told me about this and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then about 7 years later, I find out that picture was actually published in a book about local art. And he knew about it. And I think he knew about it and he never told me. And then when I found out, I was like, how can I get a book? Where could I buy one? You never told me. And he's like, oh, well, you have to contact the publisher. So I tried to contact the publisher, but they had no copies left. And it's not like they would print out a whole new book just for me. So I have a screenshot of it I asked the photographer, I was like, can I see what page this is on? Just again, no credit. No one tells me nothing. Yeah. And something else just happened recently and they asked me for permission actually, but I'd rather not talk about that because apparently people don't have reading comprehension. And a local food group tried to tear me a new asshole for something I posted. I was just merely asking a question. I wasn't complimenting me. So yeah, that's one of my pet peeves. Reading comprehension. Know the difference between a question and a complaint. But anyways, yeah. Um so yeah, I again I would like to make that video because I had a lot of fun doing the documentary on that local amusement park, but I just don't know how to ask for permission. Yeah. I really enjoy doing those documentaries. There's another one I want to do too. There's like two more I want to do. Like the past we I don't know if anybody has seen the last Blockbuster documentary that was just posted on Netflix the other day. Yeah. And it was such a good documentary. If you haven't watched it yet, it's so good. If renting videos was a part of your Friday, Saturday night in the past. But we used to have another video store here where I live, which was called Amigo Video, and that was like a mom and pop shop. But that you would go there. I really should just ask and see what they say. Like that was a really good video store that also ended up a mom and pop shop that actually survived the Hollywood video blockbuster buyouts and all that when they were destroying mom and pop shops. Yeah. And they had the best horror movie selection. I remember like if Hollywood Video or Blockbuster didn't have it, we'd be like, oh, let's go to Amigo Video. They have to have it. And they would have like, some of the naughty, I think they had like naughty movies too. And then like just the best horror selection you could ever see. So I wish I could do a documentary on them too, talking about the last Blockbuster, but try and keep it locally centric to where I live. Yeah, I love Blockbuster too. Those you can't. And in the documentary, they try and explain like what Blockbuster smells like and all this stuff, but like you cannot fully explain to these new kids who only are aware of streaming unless you just can't explain that feeling of going into a Blockbuster, spending an hour and a half trying to pick out a movie, even going back further before people had VCRs. I remember when they used to rent out VCRs, and I remember them hanging behind the desk. And I remember they were just in these huge, fat blue. It looked like an otter box that covered the actual VCR that was inside of it, and you would rent all this stuff. And you get like your candies and your Orbits drinks and all this stuff that doesn't exist anymore, like to watch your movies with. Get a pizza. You just I don't see how you could capture that essence. In fact, that's cool. Bye, girl. In fact, we had in El Paso, we had our Blockbuster close less than 4 years ago. In fact, I had took a picture of it right when it was about to close, and I put it on my Instagram, which is like I'm glad I put things on my Instagram in terms of things like that because I can refer back to the date that it actually happened. Hi, Willy Wonka at Blockbuster, Robert. Yes. I'll see if I can find it. It's pretty far back. If I said 4 years or something, I'm going to have to go back far on my Instagram. But we had it about less than 4 years ago. I think we were some of the last ones. When I would tell people, oh, yeah, we still had a Blockbuster back then, they were like, what? What are you even talking about? Yeah, I don't know if I can sit here and just scroll, how far I can scroll back on this. But yeah. So that's what I want to do. It would be nice to have a thing on Amigo Video, but I would have to find like the owners and convince them I'm like a legitimate journalist or something. I think I'd have better luck with my 104-year-old aunt than the people who used to own this video store. So, which, yeah. But that's about it. So today I learned about bidet bottles and then just asking right out for permission and not thinking twice about it. So I'd like to thank Acrophobe for the push of, what is it? Just the push to go ahead and ask my aunt. I'll text my cousin right now and see what he says. If he says no, well then we'll never get this video because I doubt he knows how to work Zoom, and I don't know how she's doing these days, but okay, so we've officially hit an hour. I think I've never mind. I'm back. I was just thanking you. I was saying in today's live we learned about bidet bottles, and then you gave me the push to just have courage and ask my aunt, can I interview you? But oh my gosh, I don't know what it is now. Like my nose is leaking. I don't know what it is. And my brother hasn't said anything, so I don't think he got the first part where I was talking about getting more plastic surgery. I'm so excited. I'm still scrolling. I'm trying to find this Blockbuster thing, but I have to go again. That's fine, girl. If you gotta go, I don't mind at all. I'm already wrapping this up. What else? Yeah, Robert. Okay, I cannot find this Blockbuster thing. Every time I think I almost found it, I don't. So. Oh, was that it? Oh no. I'm just gonna keep scrolling. Yeah. Yeah, I will. In fact, so I don't procrastinate, let me go ahead and text my cousin right now. Let me see what he says. Great. I'm misspelling aunt. I put ain't. Okay. Hold on. I hope you are well. And if they say yes, I'm gonna have to get a camera with an SD card because my phone's not gonna handle that much content. Yeah, my family has a good sense of humor. One time I asked my cousin, "Hey, what'd you guys do when you went out with the guys?" He's like, "Oh, we went out looking for hookers," and I was like, "That's great." I'm not sure he was joking or being serious. He's in like his 60s or his 70s now. But that's the kind of family that we have here in my life. That's the kind of family that we have. We don't die and joke about hookers. It's great. It's wonderful. Okay, so I sent the message this Saturday. I did not procrastinate. Thank you, Acrophobe. I sent the message, so I'm gonna see what he says, because I would and if they are cool with it, maybe I can ask the audience, like, what would you ask? Because maybe now I look at my brain, how much it stopped working throughout this hour that I've been on YouTube Live. What questions you would ask someone over 100? What, like, I might have a questionnaire on Instagram, and if you see the questionnaire, then you know that it's a go, and it will happen. So I'm gonna let you all go. I have things to do, water to drink and hydrate and all this stuff. I have a bidet bottle to go buy, and I need to figure out how I'm gonna get Spotify so I can listen to that whole Jim Brewer episode on freaking Joe Rogan. But okay, thank you, everybody. Have a good Saturday. Bye.